Okay, just go with me for a minute. What if there were a medicine that could heal, like, almost anything?
Howdy, y'all. Y'all kids like cartoons? It's another Purpock Ponders, a thing I've never come up with a slogan for, so I always introduce it a new way each time. Basically, it's a show for when I want to talk about stuff unscripted, like Race the Ramen, but with no real timer, less of an onus to hurry myself, just kind of discuss things. And today, I wanted to take a look at the Adult Swim show, Common Side Effects, which recently finished its first season and graciously has been renewed for a second season. And I'm here to tell all y'all why you should be watching it if you aren't watching it already. I think it's one of the best shows showing on TV right now, one of the best new shows. It is definitely a thing that animation in the West really needed right now. And just putting all that aside, it's a really interesting, really good show, and you should really check it out. If you've somehow not heard about this show yet, Common Side Effects is an adult animated series showing on Adult Swim, and they're putting out the new episodes like the next day or same day on Max, HBO Max, whatever the hell you remember it as now. That streaming service, you know, that one. And I don't know, when it came out, when we were starting to see little bits of promotion for it, I was interested but not like hooked. And it wasn't really until other people were watching it ahead of me, the season was like halfway through, people were like, ooh, this is a good show, people got to check this out. If this doesn't get a second season, I'm rioting. And I guess those people don't have to riot because in some miracle, a second season is coming. I know I've said that like 3 times already, but I'm still like really happy about that and surprised. Like in the current animation industry, especially under like the Adult Swim banner and Warner Brothers, I'm shocked a show this mature and like, you know, thought-provoking that's animated gets to live, gets to dodge the axe under Zaslav and just like generally the way animation is in the States right now. It's just a big, pleasant surprise to see something like this continue. And I'm glad it will, because then maybe we'll get more fans. But anyway, why should you watch this show? What's it about? Basically, you got this main character, a very likable, interesting main character named Marshall Cuso, who's like this chubby guy with funny hair, and he has a pet tortoise named Socrates.
2 things to mention. Some people are following me, and I brought my tortoise.
Basically, he's come across a mushroom that is like the cure-all drug. It is the medicine. It can seemingly cure anything, like neurological impairments, near-death experiences, all kinds of like injuries, maladies. This thing is seemingly a miracle cure. And he really wants to get it out there and just get it to everybody. He wants it freely distributed. And the show is basically the government and different agencies hunting him down, while different people learn about this mushroom and get kind of like mixed up in the conspiracy of it. Some people want to help him. Some people want to take advantage of him. And in just one 10-episode season, a lot happens, and I was like glued to the screen the whole time. My girlfriend and I watched it together, and she's not a huge fan of, you know, lots of violence, and there were a few scenes in the show where it gets, you know, pretty bloody, or like a bone sticking out, something like fucked up and, you know, graphic happens, but it's mostly not like that. I'd say it's a mostly serious show, largely, I would say, free of that kind of conflict, and it does happen somewhat regular basis, but it's not a bloodbath or anything. It's not like an egregious show full of suffering. It feels like every episode has something to say. It's all part of a bigger story, but they're all trying to like make different points with each episode. It's a really like intelligently written show. It feels really thought out. All of these characters, and there's a lot of characters in the fray of the story in just this first season. They all feel like distinct and memorable visually, and in the terms of like how they're written, the personalities all really stick out. Their names are, I'm failing to remember their names at the moment, but there's these 2 buddy cop characters who are like following Marshall through most of this season, and everything they do together is amazing. They're both hilarious, likable characters, but together they are even better.
Capano, is celery Carrot's cousin or a sibling? You don't have to answer right away.
The show can be pretty funny, and like make you like smile and laugh. But it is definitely not a comedy, at least not like first and foremost. It is more so like a drama. It is a plot-driven show with characters and character arcs and stakes changing within episodes and across episodes. There's like a last time on Common Side Effects every time, because this is in fact a plot-driven adult like drug crime drama about like insurance companies and the ethics of letting everybody have medicine and like fucking with big pharma, and like how different governments might not want that, and how people say they don't want that until suddenly they want that, or say they do want that until suddenly they don't want that. It's throwing a lot of interesting ideas around.
We spend more money than ever on healthcare, and everyone's still sick. Think about all the people who make tons of money just from keeping us sick by keeping us unwell.
And I haven't really felt this engaged on both like a comedic and creative as well as like, you know, social and the writing level since probably like the Midnight Gospel, that Netflix show from a few years back. Like, this show feels so grounded but also so trippy because it's got all like the psychedelic sequences where people take the mushrooms and you see these funny little dudes. You might start seeing funny little things. Maybe that's a common side effect. They start playing around with ideas like that over the course of the season. Like, we need to study this mushroom. We don't really know what it does. I mean, it heals people, but what else does it do? And everyone's like, "What? We're gonna be rich. What are you talking about?" And like that sort of thing, back and forth. You get to see like what seems like a justifiable reason for like why insurance companies exist and why like, you know, these companies are in place as they are. And like people within them like, we're not evil, are we? We're just kind of doing our job, working the system. And then sometimes you see like, you know, a point there. And then, you know, 3 out of 4 times you'll see something where it's like, well, yeah, but what if someone suddenly gets sick and life just, you know, throws shit at you? What are you going to do with all your ethics and your money then, Mr. Rich Pill Pusher?
Ah, great. Now my room service is here.
I'm trying a lot to discuss the different aspects of the show without spoiling it, because it is really tightly plot heavy and tightly knit as a story. I'd really not like to spoil any of it, because this is a show I think everyone should check out. Watch the first episode, see if you like it. But if you're one of those people that really enjoys like a crime drama, also if you're one of those people who's always like, oh, we need more adult animation that isn't just like Family Guy or Big Mouth or like stupid and crass, this is that. This is like a legitimately like great TV show that more or less just happens to be animated. It takes advantage of the medium, like those sequences where people are taking the mushroom or like seeing stuff in their vision. That would have been way harder to do in live action. They probably would have had to animate it still. So the fluency of like everything together visually is great. You have like these kind of caricature-esque human designs. I think I've seen that some people have been resistant to get into this show because of the way that people look. And I guess it's a little off-putting, like the proportions of their eyes and faces are kind of funny. But it didn't take me long to get used to this because I just got sucked up in like the style of the show and the characters and all that. They keep saying, but for real, if the art style kind of doesn't gel with you, I understand. But give it like an episode or two, and then maybe you can get used to it. Because I don't know, for what looks like such a simple show, which at first I kind of thought might be lower budget, it gets really like ambitious and grandiose with like a lot of its shots and general animation. And I don't know, there's a lot of locations, there's a lot of people. It feels like a big budget, like properly thought out TV show. It doesn't just feel like some experimental Adult Swim thing, like a 12-ounce mouse or whatever, where it's just weird animation for the sake of it. Not that I always dislike that. I've always been a big fan of a lot of Adult Swim's more experimental stuff, but this being by some degrees apparently a success by the network's metrics makes me very happy, because I think I might love this show, and I'm going to need at least 3 or 4 seasons to be happy with this. I don't even really know where the story can go after season 1, probably lots of places, but I just know that I'd like to know where it goes. Good show, and I want people to watch it, want people to support it. It's fun to have a main character like Marshall, who's basically like a die-hard hippie who will go to the ends of the earth to achieve his goal, but he's also like really like tempered and mild-mannered. He almost never raises his voice, hardly ever swears, never threatens violence like most people around him. He's like, look, can't you guys just like leave me alone? I'm trying to like test this mushroom. What I'm doing is not illegal. Like, he's being like a perfectly level-headed person about everything, and everyone around him is just being like a little bit more of a dick.
Hey, do you like movies?
Yeah.
But not in like a cartoonish, well, not like a super exaggerated comedic cartoonish way, like a Bob's Burgers or something, where everyone is just like a little crazier than the main character. It's more like am I the only sane person left? Am I the only non-greedy person left? I just want to see the world get better. I don't want to see, people getting charged for this stuff. I don't want to have to give this to people and then let them suffer because I don't know what they're up to later. He really wants to do this straight, and no one else around him really seems to want to, even the people that like claim they do. Smiling Friends is like the big Adult Swim show right now that everyone talks about. Before that, it was Rick and Morty. And I don't think the show will probably ever get quite that big because it's not as silly and memeable. But please, Common Side Effects deserves a fan base. Like, if you guys really want to see more stuff like this exist, then you gotta support it, because that's how that works. And I've seen a lot of people compare this to Breaking Bad on shrooms, and since I'm a cretin and I've never finished Breaking Bad, don't shoot me, I can't completely say if that's true or not, how accurate that is, but it is really like what's so bad about selling drugs, and also what if the drugs were this kind of story. But in less of a person doing something knowingly bad to try and do the right thing kind of way, more so a person trying to do the right thing and wondering why everyone says it's the wrong thing kind of way. It is an intriguing show with plenty of like characters and action and drama to keep you invested, with bits of laughs and like levity. It's not like totally grimdark serious, but it also like feels distinctly like its own thing without ever compromising its tone. It's like, we are here to tell our serious story in our kind of silly, odd way, with funny little turtles and weird little dudes in a trippy void, and they're sticking to it, and it's great. Common Side Effects is a fantastic show that I'm happy to see is getting plenty of attention. It needs more. You should try this show out. And if you don't like it, fine. But at least I'll know I tried, and at least I know we all tried. Support good TV, because that's what this is. Seriously, I need multiple seasons of this. I'm going to need some kind of Marshall Cuso shirt thing. I'm going to need this show to do a little well, okay? That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking, okay? If Smiling Friends can take over the internet, like, with every week with a new episode when it's on, like, can we try and put a little bit of those eggs into the Common Side Effects bucket? Just a little. Because it's sick. It's a sick show, and when it's gone, everyone's going to be like, man, that was a sick show. Why did it have to go? And we'll all be like, oh, I didn't watch it. Watch it.